bunch of chefs who got together to cook for each other. The host for this particular gathering was Sam DiBattista at the former location of his restaurant, Vivo.
For the last few years, I've wanted to just get chefs around the city together. And again, my goal with that was, first of all, to be inspired by some of these guys that are doing so many good things. But secondly, just to allow the chefs in the city to talk about what's happening, how do we relate in a culinary sense to the rest of the country, which I think we're doing a really good job right now.
We have some great restaurants here, and also not to mention just the agriculture that goes on around us. You know what I mean? With some of these local farms that I'm working with, I mean, I get some of the most gorgeous, you know, produce that you can get in the entire country. You know, and it's grown right in our backyard. It's a couple hours from farm to my guest's plate, and you know, it's just, we have world-class agriculture, and we're now starting to get world-class restaurants. It's time for Pittsburgh to get noticed a little bit, you know?
It seems to me, I mean, what you've got here for the Fat Club, in reality, is that it's sort of like a potluck dinner for chefs.
Yes. We're just trying to have fun with food, you know, take away all the mystique. We're just chefs that are cooking and having fun for each other. Cooking for each other is a lot of fun.
This is a menudo, traditional Mexican dish. It's you're gonna hear me say it probably 8 times today. It's just one of those soulful dishes that is just satisfies everything. And you know, it's a peasant dish, but it's absolutely delicious. 3 different kinds of chiles, garbanzo beans, potatoes. Just a little steamed, serve it up with just a little steamed rice, some chopped onion and some chopped cilantro, and just give it a squeeze of lemon, and instant happiness.
That's wonderful.
This is great.
Grab a fork, man. This is awesome.
There's an intimacy in those dishes, I think, which is why I think chefs gravitate toward those kind of things. People always ask me, what's your favorite meal? And my answer usually is a home-cooked one.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't have to be filet and lobster and all those things. I like simple, and I like there to be some guts to it. And I don't mean guts on the plate. I mean, like, people have put themselves into this dish.
I noticed that today the theme seems to be all seasonal foods. So what is it about chefs and seasonal foods? What is that?
Well, we immigrated to this country, and it's funny because we lived in Italy. You weren't able to say, tonight we're having veal chops. You know, you kind of looked out into the courtyard, there was a chicken running around and some figs on a tree, and you basically had that to work with. You know, you didn't have the luxury of planning a menu that you could go out and buy. And I think that's really what a chef is all about, taking what's available and local and doing something with it. I think that that's truly the sign of a good chef. And I think all the immigrants of the time, they placed a high priority on food. And it seems like in the 60s when the TV dinners came out, that was the end of food in this country. It was really disgusting to see what was happening with our food. I mean, just processed to the point where it doesn't even make sense anymore.
When I came in, you already had this on the stove. It was stewing away here for the Fat Club meeting. What is it, first of all?
It's sort of my interpretation of what a harvest would be like, of like all the ingredients. I thought about it and I thought about it. The harvest is all these vegetables that will flavor this latter part of the harvest. And I was like, I just want to concentrate on the harvest part of it. And so I took squash and corn and beans and just sort of like put them all together. And thank you. A little bit of wine and for my soup. And basically that's sort of what I came up with, and then I played with. I made a stock with. I toasted some Marcona almonds, so very Spanish.
Oh, that's crazy good.
Is it good? And it's all vegetarian, so which is kind of odd for me, but.
You mean there's no pork in this?
There's no pork. No. My wife was like, okay, so it's vegetarian, so you flavor with ham. No, not this time. So.
You know, I can actually taste the almond in the background, that little bit of those toasted almonds. That's wonderful. What's this?
A little sage cilantro, chicken of the woods mushrooms that I've found at Harvard Acres, and butternut squash soup with miso and apple cider. It's a little different, obviously. It's cooking whatever you're passionate about.
Yeah.
Like whether it pertains to like any sort of culture or whatever, it's like whatever you really like and really want to create and share with people.
This is the place to do it.
That's what we do, you know.
This is just more of a gathering of friends. It's awesome. I mean, it's like great chefs. I mean, I get to meet them, the ones I haven't met and the ones I have met. I get to see them again, and it's all about food and enjoying everything. I mean, I'm here to eat, drink, and have a good time. I take pork belly and then I maple syrup, brown sugar, salt, and thyme, and I cure it for 7 days, flip it every day, and then I smoke it, and it pretty much is like our house-made bacon, and then that's seared off with sauerkraut, a pinch of whole grain, scallions, and then the pretzel grits are just pretzels steeped in milk that infuses the milk, and then buzzed up, and then pour some grits into it, and so you get just like a creamy, crunchy grit, pretzel, and then whole grain mustard Dijon, a little bit of horseradish.
I don't ever want to follow tripe and pork belly. I feel like I'm at a disadvantage now. Some steamed mussels in white wine, lemon, marinated with Kalamata olives.
So when you make this ceviche, obviously with the mussels, you got to steam them a little bit.
Yeah, steam them until they just barely start to open up, and then I take them out and left them in some lemon juice and some lime juice overnight, so they are cooked all the way.
Oh, look at that. My, oh my. Oh, that's so flavorful. Oh, Lord.
Wife has a couple of she has a community garden and a garden at our house. So all of a sudden she gives me a basket with a few tomatoes, a few peppers and onions, and I had some ossobuco I was going to do, so I just browned the ossobuco, threw all those ingredients in here with some red wine, and just braised it for a long time. And I added a little bit of honey because I wanted a little bit of sweetness to it. And I'm just going to simply serve it over a grilled fingerling, basically. Nothing too special, but I think it works real well together.
I think it's time to figure out.
Yeah, let me know what you think of that.
See if this worked out, Sam.
I don't know, I hope so. But it should be a little sweet, a little spicy, and hopefully decadent.
Oh.
Yeah, pretty good?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, the sauce is so thick.
I mean, it's rich, I know. I was hoping it wasn't going to be overdone.
No. But you could put your face in it.
You could put your face in it.
We decided to follow some of those chefs back to their work environments to see just what went on behind the line at their restaurants. And our first subject was the talented and energetic Chef Andrew Hepson, who was still at Sonoma Grill.
Keep an eye on this stuff for me. I'm going to caramelize. I want to caramelize this. It's just fennel and onion.
So how long have you been a chef here at Sonoma?
All right, well, I opened the place with Yves as one of his sous chefs back in December of '04.
So who's Yves?
Yves is owner and proprietor with Big Y Corporation. He's got Ceviche across the street, Talara in Baltimore, and soon to be one in Market Square, which is going to be a New Orleans style bistro, which is going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to be over there in Market Square doing the New Orleans style place. As soon as we start to get low, get that count together and get that off the ground, do all the menu conceptualization and train the staff and get it up and running. I've been wanting to do a New Orleans style restaurant for quite some time, so I'm really excited about this. Because, you know, all that food is right up my alley. Then I'm going to have my hands in all 4 places. It's going to be a big challenge, but it's going to be fun.
So you didn't have any illusions about the glamour of this business, right?
No, I did not. But I mean, I was 15 years old. I saw these guys who liked to cook it on the line. You know, they all had a certain swagger about them. I'm like, this is the life for me, man.
And it has been?
It has been. I ended up going to culinary school when I was 22. I'd been a vagabond for long enough, and I was like, I need to get serious about something. And I've been cooking this long. I love it. It's all about love, all about, you know, being happy in what you're doing.
As you're developing recipes or working on recipes, are you thinking about what effect it's going to have on the person who actually eats that, whatever that product is?
Whenever you're developing a dish or developing something, you're always like, this one, you know, you get real excited about every little component that goes into it. Usually when I'm developing a dish, I really try to stay true to the culture that it was inspired by. I may add some elements from some other cultures or techniques from some other styles of cuisine.
but whatever the base idea of the dish is, I try to really stay true to the culture and the history behind where it came from. That pan's getting hot. Just fire that onion and fennel.
How would you characterize your food?
Eclectic. It's I really don't like to limit myself. There's not a day that goes by that I don't learn something new. You know, open up a book and or even go online, because a lot of these guys who are training with me and training with my sous chefs, you know, they'll bring stuff to the table. I like my dishes simple. You know, I like a few simple flavors on the plate, keeping just a few simple flavors, but just really strong technique.
Where'd you grow up, Chef?
Lived in Miami until I was about 13, then moved up here. Went to high school at Baldwin, and you know, Pittsburgh became my home. I love this city. Pre-shift, guys, let's bring it in. We got about 80 on the books. A little light for a Thursday. And it all comes down to thinking on your feet and multitasking. You know, you got to have a couple different pans in the fire all the time.
As long as you've been here in Pittsburgh, what would you say is the major change that you've seen in among the restaurants?
I think that the food culture in Pittsburgh is changing. The public is opening up more to more creative, you know, concepts in food, more modern concepts in food. I think the culinary school being here has a little bit to do with it too, because you know there's younger chefs who are, you know, eager to learn, who are up and coming, who, you know, maybe by default, maybe they never planned on staying in Pittsburgh, but they end up making their careers in their homes in Pittsburgh.
How about advice for young people?
If you're thinking you're going to want to go to culinary school after high school, go get a job in a restaurant. It's simple as that. It's you know, it's going to tell you whether you're going to like it or not.
How do you find out if what you're doing back here is successful out there?
Grilled redfish. I get a lot of feedback from my wait staff. They're really good about helping me, you know, helping me out, especially with features. You know, I'll tell them during pre-shift, I'll be like, you know, I'm thinking about this as a menu item. Let's get some feedback on it, and you know, they come back and let me know, you know, positive, negative, you know, whatever it may be. And a lot of times, I like to get out in the dining room as much as I can. I like to get out and actually have some one-on-one interaction with the guests as much as I possibly can. All right, let's ready to rock. 42. 42.
This right here.
Thank you.
What's the best thing on the menu tonight?
I love our veal dish. A little salt and pepper. A lot of people, I'll have people ask me all the time, what do you marinate your steaks in? What do you marinate your, you know, this in and that in? I'm like, salt and pepper. This is braised kale and ham hock. We got smoke on the pan. The veal right in. A little bit of butter. Butter will help it brown. Let it go. Let the pan do its magic. Put some color on it. Take them about medium rare. And then let them rest. Just very simply whipped potatoes, black garlic demi-glace. It's fermented black garlic and a natural veal stock reduction. And then some very mildly pickled local apple. Into the window.
When you were talking about that, I thought it was 3 different dishes. That's fabulous, Chef.
I'm trying to look for.
With the demi-glace and the veal, you know, it's sort of like classic European kind of thing that you would expect. Then you get those ham hocks and the greens.
it's all like American.
Down home, all American. You know, perfect creamy potatoes, the nice mouth foil for that, and then you get the pickled apple with that crunch. So it's all of that back and forth that you chefs teach us all about when you make a dish like this.
Food should be fun. You know, people should have fun cooking. that's what makes it fun for us, is we have that freedom to experiment and that freedom to really to really just create from from our guts, from our soul, and put it all into our craft.
Chef Andrew is still plying his craft at Nola in Market Square. Next up was Kevin Sousa, who had been working in Pittsburgh for a few years, but was just getting started at his new venture called Salt of the Earth. With its open kitchen design, there is no line to get behind.
Go scallop hanger twice. Is this the same chicken?
After working nearly a decade in other restaurants, Kevin Sousa opened his own in the fall of 2010. And quickly, Salt of the Earth on Penn Avenue attracted a loyal following of customers.
People are coming in droves. We're very busy, and we're staying true to our concept.
And we're full. There's nowhere for anyone to go.
It's hard work, yeah. I mean, I came in at 8:30 today, and I'll leave at 12:30 at night on most nights. But, I mean, it's a labor of love.
You're not going to serve that, are you?
I think some chefs are driven by financial payoff. For me, it was always autonomy, just being able to do the food that I wanted to do in the environment that I wanted to do it with the people that I chose to work with.
Can I have 2 hanger, a pork, and a duck, please?
I think that there are plenty of good restaurants out there doing really good food, and I don't want to compete for the same dollar that they are. I want to do something specifically different.
Here comes round 2. It looks like a lot of deuces, so which shouldn't be too bad.
We try to keep our food light, but we do use a lot of flavor concentration, a lot of reduction, a lot of things that take a lot of time and resources.
And how about you? What'd you order?
I got the rabbit loin.
Had you ever eaten rabbit before?
No, this is my first time.
This is the thing about Kevin. Every time I see him, he makes me eat something I've never eaten before, you know? So, I had my first snails with him.
Some burgundy snails, sauteed in a little burgundy with some shallots, butter, salt, pepper. We do white corn grits. And fold in some raw cauliflower, mostly for texture, but also because raw cauliflower is really nice with shellfish. A little bit of extra black pepper in here. And then finish it with some fermented black garlic puree. Then we do crispy chicken skin, a few pieces of local watercress.
And what's the flavor profile of the watercress version?
Spicy. It's pretty peppery. And then this is just burgundy wine that we cook off the alcohol. We add some soy lecithin to it to create some bubbles, so we can kind of control where the flavor is, and it looks kind of cool. And that's our snail starter.
Oh boy. All right. Seems a shame to take it apart, you know what I mean? It's just... I don't know where you got the idea about the crispy chicken skins with the snails, but it's like...
It's good, right?
Yeah, you could just like make sandwiches out of it.
A lot of different tastes that are put together on a plate.
I've had snail, and I've had grits, but I've never had snail and grits together, spiced the way it was. It was very good. I never would have thought to put those things together, but it worked real well together.
Cody, 2 hanger, pork duck scallop.
With the menu you've got up here, you're crossing all kinds of lines that most restaurants don't. For instance, nobody can come in here with an expectation of eating anything that they ate the last time they were here.
And that's the freedom of having a chalkboard menu. I mean, the concept from inception was open kitchen, communal tables, no menus in print.
And customers may be surprised by not only what is on the menu, but what is not.
I'm never going to serve filet mignon here. I'm just not. It doesn't taste good, it's bland, it's uninteresting. It's just not what we do. We focus more on the simpler, maybe even more peasant type cuts to really highlight the fact that we know how to treat them.
You don't mind the experimentation here?
No, I love it.
We can't do what we want to do if we can't make people happy. On one hand, I want to do the food that I want to do, but I also have to kind of tiptoe around the fact that I need to make sure that this is something that everyone else wants to eat.
Such as lobster, sealed in a plastic bag and cooked with a technique called sous vide.
It's under vacuum, and it's protein sealed in a cryovac machine, and then we cook it at a specific temperature with a piece of equipment in a water bath. It's called an immersion circulator, and it just keeps an even temperature for an extended period of time. Generally, the cooking times are longer at lower temperature, kind of let the muscle remain relaxed, and what you end up with is just a really consistent product.
So many flavors. The fusion of flavors is phenomenal.
Coming down with a knife.
Did you eat anything here tonight that you've never eaten before?
Duck livers.
Really?
Never had it before. Ever. It was really good.
We're trying to be a more relaxed, a different kind of restaurant. We wanted to bring the kitchen out into the dining room. We wanted it to feel comfortable, and we also wanted to just alleviate a lot of the problems that come with having a kitchen that's shut off from the rest of the restaurant. I mean, we wanted to know what was going on.
It's sort of fascinating to sit here, and it's like perpetual motion. They never seem to stop. They're stirring, they're slicing, they're burning.
I know, and you get to see what they're doing, and after you get your meal, you're going, oh, I wonder if I should have gotten that one.
We keep our menu to 12 to 15 items, and we sell a lot of each one of those items. I mean, we pretty much re-prep the whole menu every day.
It's sort of like an upscale food experience in a homey atmosphere.
We're not interested in being a destination restaurant for a special occasion. We want to be an exceptional restaurant that you can come to 3 nights a week.
Some of Salt's customers are so comfortable, they let Kevin choose their meal.
We're thinking about doing whatever you want to do.
Okay. Hey, Jonah, fire 2 tasting-sized snails. We're going to do a tasting for these guys. Those are going to right here, Jonah. And then next up, we'll do soup, and then we'll do venison, and then I don't know what after that.
I think this is just the beginning of a whole new wave of different kinds of restaurants that have a very specific scope. Instead of everyone doing New American or everyone doing the same takes on the same kinds of food, now I think we'll start to see more restaurants doing one thing. Like, this is what we do.
I think that they will succeed with this restaurant. Even walking up to it, you can feel that the atmosphere is very different, trendy. So I think they will succeed.
Did you learn anything watching these guys?
It's amazing how consistent they can be with each plate, because they're doing a lot of intricate stuff in there, where they place the sauce and where they place the vegetables, and it's very consistent. I never do that. It's fun sitting here and being able to watch it.
We feel like if we're producing something that anyone feels like they could do at home, then we're not doing our jobs.
Since we did that interview, Chef Sousa has opened up 2 more restaurants, Union Pig and Chicken and Station Street, and he's in the process of opening up another restaurant. Our next story represents a rarity in the restaurant business, a cooking couple, Dan and Sherry Leapart. It's easy to see why Isabella on Grandview was voted Pittsburgh's most romantic restaurant.
Hey, honey.
Order in? Okay, great.
After all, the 2 people running the kitchen are husband and wife.
Is 21 a walk-in?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Dan and Sherry Leapart met in culinary school more than 10 years ago and have been together ever since. And for the past 2 years, they've been working side by side at Isabella.
People definitely think we're a little bit off.
I could never work with my wife.
I think we just on Saturday night had a guy.
Yeah.
Oh look, they're still talking. You know? We're like, yeah, most of the time.
And like most couples, they don't always see eye to eye, especially in the kitchen.
We do butt heads. by all means.
Yes.
We are two very stubborn people.
Yeah, we choose our battles wisely.
We do.
And most of their agreements and disagreements center around one thing.
We're obsessed with food. We're constantly thinking about it. We're always excited when we find new products, and it's just something that triggers a portion of our brains that just brings us alive.
Their devotion to cooking has impressed critics and customers alike. Readers of Pittsburgh Magazine voted Isabella Best Overall Restaurant in 2010, and Dan and Sherry's 7-course menu continues to evolve.
This is a Madeira braised rabbit leg. There's some wild mushrooms in there.
This is dashi broth, which is made with kombu seaweed and katsuobushi flakes, which is dried fish flakes.
This is a Turkish cauliflower moussaka.
And this is the Duroc pork tenderloin. This is pickled leeks.
I am searing a buffalo strip loin. It's being served with a preserved lemon and Oregon black winter truffles, and that's being served with red skin smashed potatoes.
This is some caviar that we made right here in-house that is actually made out of beet greens.
That's the butternut squash and passion fruit soup with brown butter and sautéed shrimp. Okay, a la carte.
Another veal.
Isabella's dining room is intimate, with owner George Merrick making sure a customer's every need is met.
He comes in most nights, he walks around, he greets the tables. He has started doing a few really interesting things that you don't see many restaurants do. He has a courtesy car service that he offers, where he will physically himself, in his own car, go and pick people up at their hotels, and he'll bring them up to the restaurant, and then he'll take them home at the end of the meal. Each restaurant is different. Some take things a lot more seriously than others. Some are a little bit more relaxed than others. And some of them work very much like a family unit, which Isabella particularly does. It's nice because you spend so much time there that you don't want it to be like a work environment.
Yeah.
Unless it has to be. Can I just use your pork noodle pot for the ravioli?
Yeah, sure.
And when Dan and Sherry are at home, they are more often than not still in the kitchen.
Our favorite thing on a Sunday to do is a bottle or two of wine and cook something delicious.
And something delicious is what they whipped up for us.
So we are making a soup that we saw in Lydia's Italy one day. We like to watch the WQED cooking shows on Saturday mornings before we go to work. And one day she made this soup that was polenta with garlic and olive oil and greens. Looked so delicious that we hopped up off the couch, ran into the kitchen, pulled the ingredients out.
And here I've started the garlic on low heat. I'm letting it sort of just toast away. And once we start to see some color there, I will add some chicken stock.
No, I'm gonna do this just like Lydia did. She pretty much just streamed in handfuls of cornmeal. You're really just using it to kind of thicken out the soup, make it a little bit velvety. So this will now, at this point, just simmer. The greens, you put in whatever kind of greens you like, as much as you like. Escarole is by far my favorite. Oh, that looks delicious.
That is perfect.
Don't forget the olive oil, most important part.
Just a little drizzle on there.
Oh boy, the escarole's at just a perfect moment here because it's still, you can still feel a little crunch to it. It's not slimy. And it, you know, I should have eaten all that escarole my grandmother made because this is so delicious.
What is the favorite thing you like to cook on?
We're really big on braising. Everything from braised short ribs to pork and sauerkraut.
Half the time we make something casual like chili, the other half we're making like duck leg. They just ordered, by the way, table 30. You got a sweetbread, and I got the rest.
While they love to work together, they're also competitive.
That's going to be served with some whole grain mustard spetzel. It is, in fact, one of the areas in which Dan and I butted heads. We each have our own spetzel recipe. We actually had a spetzel off one day. We both made our batches of spetzel. We made the whole staff taste them. Blind taste test. They picked his.
By one vote.
By one vote, he won.
Which one of you two is the more experimental, sort of out there?
He is he is far more modern. He has far more creative ideas. We actually.
But she really has the soul.
You do as well. You just have a far more modern take on it than I do. He has the new approach where, you know, the sauces look way cooler on the plate, and, you know, the plating is more of a work of art than it is just food in a bowl that tastes fantastic.
That's what we love about Isabella, is we can do a little bit of all that. You know, and both of us can really have an impact on the menu there.
So Rebecca is staying now then? All right. You got that, babe?
So you actually prefer working together?
We do.
We do. That, you know, us working together has actually made us better chefs too, because we're comfortable enough with one another to really let each other know how we feel.
That would drive most people crazy.
I know.
You don't understand that?
Yeah, we really are forced to overcome issues. And we always do. At the end of the day, you know, we never go to bed mad at each other.
We're just crazy in love, and that's what ends up making everything just wash away.
Dan and Sherry are off on a new adventure with their own specialty sandwich shop on 21st Street in Smallman in the Strip District. It's called the Thin Man Sandwich Shop. Next, we were off to Regent Square and Route 174 to see how Chef Keith Fuller was making the transition from chef to chef owner.
Salad, instead of ricotta, and a veg cake.
One of the first things Keith Fuller did after deciding on the name of his new restaurant was to have it added to his personal tattoo collection.
It's the sum of 221 and 15221 and 15218 square rooted, and that's the two zip codes that divide Regent Square.
Route 174 replaced Legume, a popular dining spot along busy Braddock Avenue.
I have big shoes to fill, as people say. They say they're big fans of Legume. They come here. There's people that loved them. It was one of my favorite restaurants, you know. It's a little stressful, but I think we're doing well. 2 vegan cakes, 2 wahoos, 2 ricottas, and a side of Brussels.
With Route 174, you don't just have to worry about the cooking.
There's a lot of things that I got to worry about now. I'm a man of many hats, as they would say. I love it. I don't think my ulcer loves it, but it's gonna smooth out. Butter, so you got a hanger steak medium coming in, and you have a medium rare all day.
Before he made the jump from chef to owner, Keith consulted with friends in the business. Their advice was nearly universal.
Don't do it. They said you got a good job and it's cushy and you'll never have to worry about it. But they also said, you know, you'll never be happier. I feel like I'm a workaholic, and it's a good thing, I guess.
Well, what will you get to do here that you weren't able to do at a larger restaurant?
We're going to be doing movie night here, and then for each section of the movie, there will be 4 courses, and it'll be based upon the movie scenes. Actually, a bunch of nerds. We quote Dune every day, so the spice must flow, to Lord of the Rings, to everything else like that. Second course, we're going hanger, 2 scallops. Is that as an entree, the 2 scallops?
Yes, the 2 together.
Awesome.
The Route 174 menu is, frankly, hard to describe, even for Keith.
That's a really hard question for me to answer. I don't even really know what it is. We call it cultivated comfort food. It's the food that comforts us. I have French, Asian, Mediterranean to, you know, just fun food influences. I have my zucchini linguine on the menu. It's zucchini that julienne salted and then washed off. I use that as the linguine in my carbonara. And making my own bacon, doing a lot of charcuterie, pâtés, and stuff like that.
Keith learned to cook by watching his father in the kitchen.
My mom, she still says it. She's like, I'm not a good cook. She never really got into it as much as my dad did, and my dad really enjoyed it. And he would cook amazing meals, and from seeing him growing up, I went into the kitchen when he wasn't there, and I would play around with food. I didn't go to culinary school. When I was in Dayton, Ohio, I bagged my way into a 4-star restaurant, L'Auberge in Dayton, Ohio. From there, I got to see the kitchen. I got to see a lot of French techniques.
A year and a half later, it was on to Philadelphia and another 4-star restaurant with a demanding chef who became one of Keith's most important mentors.
The chef, David Boyle, told me, if you stay here and learn all these techniques and go and on your days off go to other restaurants and work for free, you can learn a lot just on the job training. And so that's what I did.
More like an apprentice system than a formal curriculum in culinary.
Yeah.
And Keith's on-the-job training wasn't limited to the kitchen, particularly when he went to work for the parent company of Six Pen Restaurant.
Working for Eaton Park Hospitality Group was mind-changing and it's a great experience. I mean, the things that I learned about corporation structure and how to run a kitchen and how to talk to people. I've very mellowed out from my angry and screaming ways to learning how to influence people positively in the workplace. I want to make sure that the people that work really hard for me are the people that are going to get back before I get back. And I've taken 2 large pay cuts. I went from going from good living to opening up and then looking at the numbers and then saying, okay, well, I need these people to make a little bit more, or I need this person to do here. I will take that cut and hope to make more money later on.
Oh my God. It's so good.
It hasn't taken long for Route 174 to attract customers to Keith's unique creations. Did you eat anything you never ate before?
It was put together differently, but the grilled watermelon I never tried.
Have you ever eaten wahoo before?
I have not, and I'm looking forward to it.
What else did you have?
I had falafel, and it was quite good.
And since I'm a conservative eater, this is like way out there for me.
I try to keep our prices at a neighborhood price. I try to keep our atmosphere a little bit upper. Like, I want people to come in here and be like, whoa, it's like it's not expected for what it is. Really good food, fair prices.
And his customers are helping to keep his costs low by keeping his produce cooler full.
I love the neighborhood. I've gotten to the point where people are coming by and just giving me free local produce. It's very flattering and it's very humbling. Order fire, 4 ricottas.
Even though Route 174 has only been open for about a half year, Keith is already looking ahead to his next place.
I would like to create a little faster paced, great bar scene, like a Mad Max, but different style of food, kind of like this, very vegan, vegetarian friendly. I want to be the wealthiest person in the world. I just want to be the happiest and successful, and I would like to be on TV or on a magazine. Those are goals, but they're not the biggest goals in my life. I live my life to compete against myself, and I don't want to compete against anybody else. I think that there's amazing restaurants out there, there's amazing chefs, and they have all taught me something, even just by going in there to eat. And they do what they love to do, and I do what I love to do, and I respect them for that. I live my life as Disney as it sounds, Hakuna Matata.
Chef Fuller has made good on his promise, and Route 174 is a neighborhood favorite as well as destination dining. Recent innovations have included the movie nights he mentioned, as well as family dinners and other special events. For the next story, we went out into the country for a very different kind of local favorite. On an out-of-the-way road in Butler County, just a few miles outside of Evans City, sits Clifford's Restaurant.
2 plates. We'll do 2 and 2. Yep. We found that food and cooking always seem to be bringing people together.
Jesse Enslin grew up on this farm and now runs the restaurant built by his late father, Clifford. It is without question a family affair.
It's good to see you. What are we having? Birthday party?
Oh, always.
Always.
Jesse's wife, Nicole, is part waitress, part hostess, and part bookkeeper.
Hello, Clifford's. May I help you? No, this is Val. Oh, pretty good. How about yourself?
Jesse's mother, Val, keeps track of reservations while greeting, most often with a hug, the steady stream of regular customers. The idea of a family restaurant originated with Jesse's father, Clifford.
We had a catering service for quite a few years, all the while the boys were in college or high school and college. We just got tired of carrying everything off premise, so my husband said, let's try a small restaurant. Cuts at portion size, and so from the time we opened the doors, it's been, nonstop.
It was always my father's dream to keep it working and use it.
Jesse's twin brother John is planning the restaurant's new greenhouse in a recently renovated barn, first built in the 1880s.
Grilled shrimp salad.
As for Jesse, he's the restaurant's one and only cook.
Where in the world did you learn how to cook all of this?
I don't know where I got this ability to be, having the ability to do it all at once.
All at once includes appetizers, entrees, salads, desserts, and baking the restaurant's homemade breads and signature dinner rolls. So that's batch number 2 out.
Yeah, and people
Right.
take a lot home. They fill their, there's lovely ladies filling up their purses with it. Yeah. Why not? I calculated after 18 years of 6 batches a day, we've reached over 1,200,000 buns that we do by hand. It was my father's recipe, so I feel that's what bonds him with the restaurant. Any time for your 2?
Family recipes are a big part of the menu created by a cook who has no formal culinary training.
It's a God-given talent. It really is. It's amazing. I never saw anyone that can cook the way he does. I mean, without any training, and it's all according to his own taste.
And what Jesse likes, his customers have come to love.
So what did you have tonight, and how did you like it?
I had chicken piccata, mashed potatoes with, I guess it was garlic. It was terrific. Oh, delicious. And we had a soup I had was spätzle, chicken spätzle soup, like a cream soup. Oh, it was delicious.
The dishes at Clifford's are simple and well prepared with American and European origins.
A lot of people are surprised that they find a lot of classic European touches here in Evans City.
I've been to Italy and to Germany and Switzerland, just everywhere, And I think you pick up things like that as you go along.
Jesse's also quick to credit his ethnic heritage.
My father's side German and my mother's side Czechoslovakian. They are great recipes and ingredients.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. They are the comfort food nations,
They certainly are.
Good evening, Clifford Restaurant. Help you? Sure. And what's your last name?
Clifford's is so popular, it only accepts reservations for the 50 or so seats in its cozy dining room. While seating is limited, the menu is not.
We offer a diverse menu with the seafood, the Chilean sea bass, the ahi tuna, the Tasmanian salmon, the opaka. A top seller is the crab cakes, colossal lump crab cakes, rack of lamb. But I'd say the crab cakes and the rack of lamb are our top sellers. Being in this rural setting, we're able to get throughout the year wonderful organic greens that we use in our salads and seasonal, beautiful fruits, vegetables that are local.
Jesse spends considerable time on side dishes. Mashed potatoes, baked yams, scalloped potatoes, all bubbling in the oven for hours. And every night on the stove, a pot of stewed tomatoes that his customers have come not only to expect, but demand.
And you would think, how could that possibly work with a lot of things? If I don't have them one night, I'm going to hear about it.
I mentioned that you are the sort of one-man band in the kitchen. What's the best thing about that and the worst thing about that?
Well, I do beat myself up, so it's not like you don't have a boss. The best part is having the ability to be flexible, to be responsible, to make your decisions, and improve on what you feel it didn't work.
Mm-hmm. Nobody else to answer to but yourself.
Exactly.
Is that the worst thing too?
That would be the worst thing. Yeah, I think, yes. Well put.
Now your kitchen, I noticed, is not what I would consider a standard restaurant kind of kitchen with the, the line where the dishes go out for the waitresses and waiters. It's more like a home kitchen in kind of its layout.
Exactly. The layout was meant to be that way. My cooking is more like I'm cooking for a bunch of family members coming in for the evening. The plates are extremely hot when they arrive at the table, and I do each one made to order. We're not putting them on trays and waiting back there. As I make it, they're serving it. And yeah, it's more like having one big family gathering nightly.
It's great, thank you.
And the family is never far from the restaurant. Jesse, his wife, and their son Samuel and daughter Odalie live above Clifford's.
They know where their mother and father are all the time, and I think for a child knowing that they're at one location, that must be comforting, I would assume.
Hi ladies, how are you?
Clifford's customers say they feel like they are part of the family, and there are so many of them that the restaurant has never needed to advertise.
I come here every time I'm in town.
Oh, okay. Where are you from?
Colorado.
Okay, so all the way from Colorado to come to Clifford's.
He's from out of state, too.
Okay, and you're from?
Florida, Orlando, Florida.
Okay.
Yep. So every time I'm in town, they invite me to come here. So he insists that we come here.
I think I touch people by giving them a moment in a crazy world to sit, relax, and enjoy.
This is rather unique, I think. It's a nice area. It's really off the beaten path, but it's not hard to find. This place is a gem. It really is.
Jesse Ensslin really is the exception to the rule. For most chefs, there's some kind of formal training before they can work comfortably behind the line. To get a feel for what that might be like, we made a visit to the Art Institute of Pittsburgh's culinary program.
That's 2 shrimp at the shores, fritters, minestrone, beef salad, and a chili.
It's the middle of the lunch rush at the Taste of Art restaurant at the Art Institute of Pittsburgh. This bustling kitchen is also the classroom for 19 students from the Institute's International Culinary Schools.
Are these both for that 7-top?
Yes, yep. As part of their curriculum, the students design the menu, prepare, and serve the meals. Their creations include a fried chicken breast sandwich made with sweet potato waffles, ravioli stuffed with artichoke and Parmesan cheese and topped with gorgonzola sauce, and this week's sous chef special, dreamed up by student Hillary Mach.
The ricotta cavatelli with duck ragu.
And you guys are hand making those cavatelles in here, right?
I made them, and then anybody who's willing to help me.
So your job today is you're the expediter, they call it?
Yes, I am.
All right, and you rotate around, and all the different students get to play all the different roles in the kitchen?
Yes, we rotate stations weekly, so you get a chance at everything.
The menu includes soups, salads, appetizers, 5 different sandwiches, 7 entrees, and 5 elaborate desserts.
Is this my tortilla back here?
Hillary came to the Culinary Institutes after earning a psychology degree.
I turned my whole independent study my senior year into a story about food and how you frame a menu and the way you creatively describe something and how that can influence your taste perception. And so after I wrote like 50 pages on that, I thought I should give it a try.
So now that you've been here, do you have a dream for this passion for food?
I just like the opportunities I have now with this degree. I'm in culinary management, so I could always have a job. You know, even if I'm married and have children, I could open up catering, or you could do cooking classes. You know, it gives you opportunities.
Jared Shepard landed at the Culinary Institutes with next to no cooking skills.
I couldn't even make rice. Prior to coming to the school, I couldn't even make rice, yeah. So I've come a long way in 2 years, and I just love cooking for my family. So once I got into school, I just fell in love with cooking, and just like the passion, you either have it or you don't.
So where do you intend to go with all this?
Well, right now, I'm working at a restaurant called 11, but I'm not quite sure what I want to do after this.
So you got a real good idea of what the real life is like.
I started off on a salad station, and I finally got moved up to the hotline position. That's where real men and real women also are found in the kitchen.
Dawn Sylvia dreams of owning her own restaurant someday. Dawn, what are you doing now?
putting some syrup on our chicken and waffle sandwich.
And it's a sweet syrup?
It's a maple butter syrup with walnuts.
Dawn's love of food comes from watching her grandfather cook when she was a child.
Cook every Sunday. We'd go over there for family, and he would clean tripe in his basement. He had multiple kitchens going at all times.
And what's Whiskey River?
Whiskey River is my restaurant concept.
Oh, okay.
And I actually created the menu already. And all my menus are made out of wood. So it seems pretty exciting.
The menu is just the beginning. As part of her class, Dawn will also design her proposed restaurant, decide the decor, even the placement of the tables and chairs.
Costing out of everything. And our actual plan will be developed by the time we graduate.
Wow. So it's a lot of work, though.
It's a lot of work.
While the Art Institute has been around since 1921, the culinary department is only 9 years old.
It's been a wonderful match for us.
Alberta Serto is Associate Dean of Academic Affairs.
A lot of the students come thinking they're going to do the associate's degree, which is a 2-year program, and then they're going to go into the industry. Once they get here, they realize the importance of having that extra year and a half, actually earning a bachelor's degree, so they can be in management positions.
The culinary program began with 25 students in 2003. It has grown to 400 students today, and many of them quickly learn about the school's commitment to community service.
We're called upon oftentimes to help with different events, like the mayor has his tree lighting. Often the culinary students are there making cookies. I think we prepare them right from the very beginning that it's an expectation. It's part of our culture.
You have a certain percentage of people come here and, you know, after a couple of weeks they go, you've got to be crazy. This is more work than anybody ever wants to do in their life.
I think we do a pretty good job of making sure people know that up front. Every person working here, you know, has been in the industry for many years.
Among those veteran chefs is Randolph Russell, who has been teaching bakery and pastry techniques for 9 years.
There's a lot of opportunity, really in Pittsburgh for baking and pastry students. We see venues popping up like the casinos and stuff like that house huge baking and pastry departments. And there's, 3 in our vicinity.
And not every culinary graduate ends up working in a restaurant kitchen. Some students combine their cooking curriculum with other programs, such as industrial design or even photography and journalism.
I mean, you could go work for major magazines and do photojournalism and food writing and stuff like that.
But students Mary Oravec and Jacob Kuhn do want to make careers out of food by creating exotic chocolates and desserts.
I feel like, desserts, it's not an everyday thing. It's more tuned to special occasions. Then you go out and you have a chocolate cake or something really amazing. That'll be with you, attached to that memory, and that'll be special to you as well as to me.
Even if it's only a bite, it's memorable. And all the hard work that goes into it makes it really worth it.
The more perfect it is, the better the memory, perhaps.
And the better the business.
The business of cooking is not lost on Chef Sally Frey, who encourages her students to take a worldview of their education and careers.
I studied at Le Cordon Bleu, Paris. I did an internship with a chocolatier in Paris. I've studied wines. I work as a wine judge, and you'll say, what's that have to do with chocolates or baking? Flavor, technique, building my palate, build exposure to cuisines, travel, go to different restaurants. That's all part of what we do. I try to teach, be wonderful, be disciplined, and be very good at many, many things.
Things that often take a lifetime to master.
Everybody's great here, so I'm not sure it's exactly my dream, but it's definitely in this industry. At least I know that finally.
I love cooking. I got a passion for it.
It's awesome being able to make this bite of chocolate and to put it in front of somebody and just to have them light up over it. It just makes it all worthwhile.
I love it. I like the hard work.
But that's the wonderful thing about doing something you love. You can do it the rest of your life.
Passion seems to be a common thread with all the chefs we talk to, a sense of vocation and not just employment. Now, back to the Fat Club for a few more insights from people who spend their lives behind the lines.
perfect forum to experiment.
Exactly.
You know, and get feedback from your peers, and maybe I'm working on a dish and there's a technique I'm not hitting right, or there's something's just missing, and then one of these guys can come in and we'll try this, and this and that. So it's a good forum to learn as much as it is just to get together and have a couple of drinks and eat some good food, you know.
So it's not just the recipes, it's techniques, ideas.
Techniques, ideas. I mean, just to see how people make their dish. I mean, I've made polenta 100,000 times, but to get his recipe, because the way that he made it was like almost like pudding, but still had that texture that was so good. It was creamy. It was delicious. So just watching him to see how he made it and asking,
If nothing else, where can you have like a 15-20 minute conversation about roasting?
Well, I was going to say, Drew, this is one good reason why chefs are such outcasts.
Yeah, you're asking.
You have nobody to talk to but other people who are just as batso as you are about roasting nuts.
A lot of us are sociopaths.
My thanks to all the chefs who were so generous to let us stand over their shoulders as they worked, and to speak so candidly with us about their hopes and dreams. It's nice to think that these are the people behind the line when we go out for our next restaurant meal.
Take away all the mystique. We're just chefs. We're cooking and having fun for each other.
Get a job in a restaurant. It's simple as that. It's going to tell you whether you're going to like it or not.
You're not going to serve that, are you?
Oh, look, they're still talking. You know?
It was my father's recipe, so I feel that's what bonds him with the restaurant.
Prior to coming to the school, I couldn't even make rice.
A lot of us are sociopaths.